Shalom, shalom. Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lusts of the father, Shalakia. Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. All honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakar Double honors to the apostles, elders, and teachers of Great Millstone for teaching me this 100% truth about our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, and the true reason why he's coming back, which is to save the elect remnant of the house of Israel from their enemies and those that hate them, and to take over the earth and universe, which was given to him by the mighty, mighty Yahweh himself, the Ancient of Days, wherein our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, will establish righteousness throughout the whole earth and universe forever under the kingdom of the heaven of the Israelites. Shalom, Akim Akwa. We one day closer to the kingdom. So brother Hadab Yarbad back with a quick lesson with more shameful spewing on our number one enemy, Esau Edom, the head tribe being Amalek. So, as I just read, John 8, 44th verse, this applies to these Edomites, especially them 48 fakers that's over in our homeland right now. The unrecognized state of Israel. Ye are of your father, the devil. We've been telling y'all. The spiritual demon, Satan, his physical counterpart on earth, is the modern day so-called white man, known as Esau Edom in the scriptures, the Idumeans. Amalek being a head tribe, which are the modern day small hatters, the 48 fakers, the ones whom you can't say nothing against, because if you do, it's a law violation. Ye are of your father, the devil. Let's see what the word devil. Let's get that. Because we got some most shameful spewing on their glory. Diabolus.
Strong's G 1228. Diabolos. Diabolos.
Prone to slander. Slanderous. Accusing falsely. Now who accuses our nation, the so-called African Americans, Native Americans, and Latinos for being the most vile, vicious, and worst people on earth? Who accuses us of that? More than anybody else. These Edomites. And who's it that hide they hand and throw rocks? Them Amalekites. Prone to slander. All they do is lie. Slanderous. Accusing falsely. A calumniator. False accuser. Slanderer. Here it is. Metaphor. Applied to a man who, by opposing the cause of the Most High Power, may be said to act the part of the devil or to side with him. So if anybody against what the Most High Power's will is, they the devil. Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning. Now, when we check out this podcast from Secular Talk, we're going to see how murderous these people are. They've been murderers from the beginning, and yet they get a pass. But let a story come out with some so-called black-on-black crime. They put that shit all throughout the news. Yeah, y'all ain't heard about none of this in the news. They using weapons that's destroying, that's collapsing people's lungs, burning them alive, and abode not in the truth because there's no truth in them. So ain't. The Lord programmed him to be that way. He programmed him to be the villain on earth. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. For he is a liar and the father of it. Let's get one more. Right? Because this is what's going on right now. Son of wickedness. The man of lawlessness. Look at that. 2 Thessalonians 2. We're going to jot down to 3. Let no man deceive you by any means. Deceiving meaning trick, fool. For that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. And that man of sin, lawlessness, right, be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High Power, and that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High Power, sitteth in the temple of the Most High Power, showing himself that he is the Most High Power. Now, when you check Do a little background checking to see who all these little tech companies and where a lot of them coming from. They coming from where? From out of Amalek. Security. They want to they got some shit now. They want to try to stop, like the movie Minority Report. They trying to set out some technology that'll find criminals before they even commit the crime. Ain't that some wild shit? Why they committing all the crimes, right? Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips to balance in favor of fair use. Fair use is in full effect. Let's get this. Get one more before we play this podcast, because it's going to speak for itself, right? All they do is steal, kill, and rob. Talaki. Let me jump over one. Because where they getting these weapons from? Babylon the Great. Talaki. I had it on the right one. Talaki, Israel. Here we go. Jeremiah 49:15. For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. Right? All these other nations waking up to the fact that the so-called modern day white man is the cancer on the earth. So-called, you know what I'm saying? As I would say it. The thing that needs to be eradicated, removed from off the earth so everybody can be in peace. Right? Thy terribleness have deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart. They got the Greater Israel project going on. Check that out. O thou that dwellest in the cliffs of the rock. They on the high. They the highest one when it comes to the kingdom or the heaven of these Edomites that's on earth right now. You can't say nothing against them, right? That hold the height, that holdest the height of the hill. Though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith Yahweh, right? And let's go on down to 20. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh, that he have taken against Edom, and his purposes, that he have purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. And some Amalekites. They going to cause everybody to go to into World War III, right? Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. The Lord going to destroy these Edomites. So all those that's cleaving on to Egypt right now through the spirit, which is America, a.k.a. Babylon the Great, y'all finna fall. The Lord finna take out every Edomite that's on this earth. And if you survive, you're going to be the first ones in continual employment, meaning slavery. Let's get one more. And then we're going to play this. You wonder why. You wonder why the Lord put this in the scriptures for a future prophecy, right? Exodus 17:16. For he said, because Yahweh have sworn that Yahweh will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So it ain't over. Right? Although y'all thought let me see. Shalaki, just keep going. I'm just moving through the spirit of Israel. Is it 7 or 8? Yeah. Ecclesiastes 8:11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Right? That applies to the house of Israel. But we're applying it to these Edomites too, because they are the wicked and they are evil. Though a sinner do evil 100 times and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear the Most High power, which fear before him. So it's going to be well with who? The elect, because out of the whole house of Israel, only the elect fear the Most High power. Right? So let's play this clip. Talaki, let me do something right quick. Throw this on. Now let's play this clip. Fair use is in full effect. They've been caught again. Habakkuk 2 is in full effect. Check it out. Obadiah, the whole chapter, full effect. Check it out.
So as we go through this story here, guys, I want you to keep in mind all of the liars and losers who lied to you and lied to themselves, perhaps, when they pretended like Trump got this amazing peace deal in Gaza. We have a ceasefire, we have a peace deal. They did this whole, ceremony and pretended like they did something special. And you had people like Piers Morgan and the trigonometry idiots and a bunch of cackling hyena clowns on Twitter pretended like, oh, look at this. The president of peace actually delivers, and I don't hear anything from the people who said they wanted a ceasefire. Well, now we have one, and they're not saying anything.
Shalaki. They truce breakers. Let's see if I can find it. It's in the book. I think it's in the book of Timothy. Shalaki, Israel. Now, let me just write it and type it in. Second Timothy. I knew it was in the book of Timothy. Shalaki, Israel. That's these Edomites. It's a plot of the wicked that of our nation that follow after these Edomites too. 2 Timothy 3:2. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters. That's how they do over them Edomites. They boast, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection. They go to point, truth breakers, false accusers. They call everybody terrorists who don't go with their agenda. Incontinent, fierce despisers of those that are good. Traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than the lovers of the Most High Power. That applied to the nation of Israel, but we apply it to these Edomites too, because they some truce breakers. Now let's go and get this out of Psalms right quick, and I'm going to continue it. Is it 55? Yeah. 55. Psalms 55:20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. That he has made a ceasefire deal, right? He hath broken his covenant, as usual. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, like he's saying. He the peace president, DJ. But war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Because they didn't broke the ceasefire. It ain't in the news, though. The major news, secular news.
Have any of those people, have any of them come out and given you any of this information? Have they commented on anything that we're about to go through now? I think we all know the answer to that. But let's take a look. So Dropsite News reports that an Italian journalist by the name of Gabriel Nunziati, that's how you, Nunziati, was fired after asking the European Commission whether Israel should pay to rebuild Gaza, just as the EU says Russia must rebuild Ukraine. His outlet dismissed him weeks later, calling the question out of place. Today, Euronews' Vincenzo Genovese raised the issue directly with the commission, asking for comment on the firing and...
Psalm 73, they are not in trouble as other men. You say something against them, your ass is in trouble.
Repeating the same question about Israel's responsibility for Gaza's destruction, Brussels said it reaffirmed the EU's commitment to press freedom without commenting on the firing or the question itself. That is insane. So you have a journalist saying, hey, you guys all said that Russia should have to pay to rebuild Ukraine. Well, should Israel have to pay to rebuild Gaza? And he gets fired for it. The question wasn't answered, by the way. They didn't answer it, and then he gets fired for it. Wow. Again, are any of the idiots who lied and pretended the fake peace deal was real, are they telling you this story? Are they giving you this information? No, I don't think so. More. Yesterday, the child Adam Hijaz al-Shantir was injured after being assaulted by Israeli colonial settlers in the Kilet al-Natshi area of Al-Khalil, Hebron, in the occupied West Bank. Local sources reported that the settlers attacked him near his home, beating him severely and leaving him with wounds and bruises before fleeing the scene under the protection of the Israeli occupation army. So here's a picture. They assaulted a little boy. They assaulted a child. That's what they did. Now, this is in the West Bank, but understand something. Because Trump has basically allowed Israel to get away with whatever the hell they want to get away with, and he supported them no matter what, In the West Bank, they know you can do whatever the fuck you want. In the West Bank, they understand that you could, what they did in Gaza, you guys can do this here. You guys can complete stealing Palestinians' land here as well. And these illegal, extremist, fundamentalist Israeli settlers are on an absolute rampage. And they've been since Trump has gotten back in office. Under Biden, there are many problems there, of course. But under Biden, they at least tried to sanction some of the people who were with the illegal Israeli settlers. And it was the stated position of the U.S. government that the occupation in the West Bank is totally illegal. And now it's all systems go. It's all systems go. So tell me again, the president of peace, tell me again how that's going. No, Israel has gotten a green light to do whatever the hell they want, and Trump will play defense. And in fact, everybody knows that Trump's fake peace deal completely collapsed, and they haven't said anything about it. They haven't tried to address the problem further. They haven't tried to fix it. They're just closing their eyes and saying, we see no evil, we hear no evil. Everything's fine. Everything's fine, and our peace deal is still holding, even though it's been violated literally dozens of times by Israel. Now, how about this story? So this guy, this rapist here, he is famous in Israel. There was this video that came out of IDF soldiers all partaking in a grape of an innocent Palestinian prisoner. And, all the IDF soldiers are basically decked out in full military gear, covering their faces in this video. It's on a surveillance video, a security video is where this came out. And what happened was this guy did the graping. Others tried to block the cameras and prevent people from seeing what was happening. But this guy literally graped a Palestinian prisoner, and he had been running around covering his face and doing interviews on TV, playing the victim. And they were more than happy to feed into the narrative that he's the fucking victim. Well, at some point, he decided, within the past, a couple weeks, he decided, it's time for me to show my face. And the reason he wants to show his face is because he feels I'm going to get massive support among the Israeli public. And you know what? He's not wrong. When this story first came out, there were literal protests that have been deemed the right to rape protest, the right to grape protest, because a bunch of Israelis decided we don't want to punish the people who are brutalizing and torturing and graping Palestinian prisoners. They're on our side. They're on our team. They're trying to protect us. They get to do whatever the fuck they want to do. And so we've had right to grape protest. So this guy showed his face. He's being celebrated. He's being celebrated in Israel. A grapist is being celebrated. He was literally caught on camera graping an innocent Palestinian prisoner. He's celebrated. And the person that leaked the video, this woman that leaked the video, she was arrested. Did you hear any of this from the trigonometry idiots? How about fucking Piers Morgan? How about any of the other assholes who were out there pretending like this was a real peace deal and that Trump actually brought peace to the Middle East? I mean, all of those people should fucking retire. They should retire. They should apologize for their fucking existence in this online space. They don't know the first thing about fucking anything. They don't understand anything about anything. And they don't care. They don't fucking care. So to them, the matter's settled. Trump's pro-peace. And, the Palestinians are the bad guys and the Israelis are the good guys. And that's the end of the conversation. That's where they're at. There's also this. This is an attempted murder. And so far, Reuters has not released any statement regarding the Israeli settlers' attempt to kill their journalist. So you can see here, it looks like hitting the head with a rock. It looks like hitting the head with a rock. She was beaten by Israeli settlers. There's also, on top of a story we covered recently, there is somebody who's been on breaking points in the West Bank, reporting on everything happening in the West Bank. He barely escaped. They tried to lynch him. He barely escaped. And the people who were trying to lynch him wound up beating up an elderly lady, an elderly grandma, Palestinian grandma. So you have psychotic Israeli settlers, a young man, beating up a fucking grandma. And by the way, that's on tape too. That's on tape. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. There were no phone calls made. Mike Huckabee didn't denounce it. Donald Trump didn't, pull funding for Israel for the West Bank. They didn't release a condemnation. Nothing. Here you have a Reuters journalist getting assaulted. Nothing. In the same way that I believe the exact number is 254 journalists have been murdered by Israel in Gaza. Nobody says anything. It's the largest number of deaths among journalists in any conflict in human history. Not worthy of a comment. Not worthy of a comment by the U.S. government, who's arming and funding the slaughter of these innocent people. And how about this one? Israel has dropped a new type of bomb in Gaza. Palestinians claim it's a mini nuke, but analysts suggest it's likely a thermobaric vacuum weapon. Thermobaric bombs detonate by dispersing a fuel-air mixture, producing a high-pressure shock wave and intense heat. This can collapse structures and cause blast effects similar to a nuclear detonation in terms of overpressure, but it's not a nuclear weapon. So terrifying, terrifying explanation. Here's what it looks like when you drop one of these things.
Here's a hot take. If you have a message inside you that people are meant to hear, it'll never make the impact that it truly deserves until you have one thing, an audience. The best way to build an audience and a platform that amplifies your message is...
One more time. Look at this. Look at the impact of this bomb. If you are wondering why some of the dead children in Gaza have no visible injuries or covered in blood, who look like they're sleeping, it is because Israel killed them with thermobaric bombs. These bombs suck oxygen from the air to trigger high-temperature explosions. The explosive pressure is so strong that it quite literally sucks the air out of the children's lungs and causes them to internally explode. So I looked a little deeper into this. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I hadn't even heard of this, and I was following, the genocide closely. And then I found out Euromed Monitor, the human rights group, they did an investigation in April. Investigation must be opened into Israel's potential use of banned thermal weapons, which cause victims' bodies to melt or evaporate. An internal committee of experts must be established to look into the weapons Israel has been using as part of its genocide in the Gaza Strip, ongoing since October 7th, including the potential use of bombs that produce such high heat that victims' bodies evaporate. Testimonies received by Euromed Human Rights Monitor reveal horrific new level of killing in the Strip, victims whose bodies appear to have evaporated or melted as a result of Israel's bombing of residential homes. The Israeli army's use of massive destruction in entire residential squares during its genocidal war on the Gaza Strip has resulted in a shockingly high number of casualties. And this goes on. Thermal weapons that they're talking about here. Vacuum bombs, thermal weapons, thermobaric bombs. This is what Israel's doing. The depravity has hit a level that, it is hard to comprehend. You'd like to think that we evolved a little bit from the days of World War II and the Nazis, and we just haven't. And Israel is the modern-day iteration of the Nazis. And this is what they're doing. There were 2.3 million people in Gaza. Only 30 to 40,000 of them were Hamas members. And Israel has killed, the actual numbers, hundreds of thousands of innocent people. Literally 80 to 90% of Gaza has been totally wiped off the map. And they're using weapons like this to do it. They're using weapons that are so devastating that people in Gaza thought they were literally mini nukes. That's how bad it is. And again, have you seen any talk about this? Has there been any condemnation from the U.S. government? No, they're providing the weapons. Of course not. How about the media? Has the media done a decent job covering this stuff? Of course not. Of course not. You're only going to hear about this here. That's it. You're only going to hear about this here. More. Scenes of Israeli settlers destroying Palestinian olive groves in the West Bank, which are one of the most important sources of livelihood for Palestinians and a symbol of their steadfastness on the land. So totally depraved and wretched and vile scum, the illegal Israeli settlers. And they are terrorists. That's what they are. And they want to steal more Palestinian land. They want to kick them off the land that they've been on for generations. And so they're going around and trying to destroy their ability to earn a living. They abduct a bunch of them. They end up torturing a bunch of them. And this is all a coordinated plan to try to steal the territory, take all of Gaza, take all of the West Bank, take parts of Lebanon. They want to create a greater Israel. And so they say, God gave me this land. God promised me this land. And so they go around doing this to the olive trees of poor Palestinian farmers. Look at this. Destroying the olive trees. Like it's nothing. That's somebody's life. That's somebody's livelihood. That's the only way that family makes money. And they're destroying it. They're doing it on purpose. They're doing it so that they can then take this land. They can steal this land. And they can continue to expand their illegal settlements. And this has the full backing of the U.S. government, the depraved, genocidal, imperial U.S. government. That's what this is. Disgusting. The video goes on, too. It goes on. Just destroying olive trees. But it gets even worse. Breaking. Israeli settler terrorists are now burning down the village of Majidal Bani Fadel in the West Bank, starting with the olive groves. Flames are spreading rapidly as residents plead for help to put out the fires. This is what we're witnessing. We're witnessing a new genocide, a new ethnic cleansing, a new Holocaust. It happened in Gaza. It's also going to happen in the West Bank here. Donald Trump supports it. The entire Republican Party supports it. The Democratic base is against it, but our politicians, unfortunately, have also caved, many of them, to AIPAC, and they do the bidding of the Israeli government. We cannot allow this to continue. As human beings, we cannot allow this to continue.